Hello, welcome to Flower Joos. My name is John McDonald, and today we're going to make a little table arrangement. Now, my inspiration for today is just really all these different foliages. So I've got quite a few different kind of conifers, but just to tie in with that, I'm going to use some lavender and some sage and some rosemary and a little bit of ivy as well. So we've got a nice selection of materials, and for our mechanic, I'm going to use this little wreath ring. Now, I have been trying to get away from using floral foam, but this was one that someone who was cleaning out a cupboard gave me. To be honest, I've never seen one like this before where it's got an actual, it's filled in. So it's more like a posy pad tray with a ring in it, which I've never seen before. It is quite old, but it actually soaked fine. So we're going to use it. There's no point in not using things just because they're foam. Once they're used and they're gone, that's it. So what I want to do is I want to put a candle in the middle. Now I could put it just like this, or I could raise it up. So I was thinking I might raise it. Yeah, let's raise it. So just to keep that nice and secure, I'm just going to use a little bit of Oasis Fix. Now Oasis Fix is like a putty. It's like a sticky putty that will help just hold things. I'm just going to put a few wee dots around the edge. It's not so good on glass, the Oasis Fix, but it is a really useful thing to have. So as I say, this is really just to raise up our candle. So this is quite a nice candle with the 3 wicks. It's very easy to look at something where you put it on the surface and it sits at the right level, but as soon as we start adding materials, the materials are going to come up to about here. So if that was lower down by the depth of that, then essentially the candle's going to be at the same height as the materials. So just raising it up is going to make a real difference. So I'm just going to work in a methodical way. And this is the best approach when you're doing anything that's round. Now this is like a little bit of conifer that is from a Christmas tree. Don't want to come too far out either. Now with material like this, you can quite happily just use secateurs. Rather than scissors, so it's kind of rough garden material. It's not a problem just to use secateurs. I think we're at that kind of interesting stage. We're not at Christmas, but Christmas has kind of started to creep into the shops and onto the television, and there's no escaping it. It is on its way. It is coming, whether you like it or not. And in a way, I think we can actually start thinking towards that. So rather than thinking, oh, I don't want it to happen, we can actually start to get in the mood by making arrangements that maybe have like this winter foliage and just actually enjoy the materials that are going to be coming. So this arrangement, you could say, oh, it's like a little Christmas wreath or a little, yeah, like a holly wreath, but not a holly wreath. But what I think is we can just make use of some of the materials we think of as Christmas, but then add them with some, like maybe a colour scheme that's not particularly Christmas, and we can start to enjoy a bit of a mix of the two from now until then. So this silver pine is just lovely. As you can see, I'm just working my way around, cutting short pieces, just taking off this bottom material so that I get a clean stem for inserting into the mechanic. And as you can see, we've got a nice base of material. So that was really our basic material. We can add some little bits that are a bit more interesting. So, other little bits of conifer. Now, if you're wanting to make an arrangement that's long lasting, then really your conifers are the perfect material. You could even make this in advance for something that's coming up and just leave it out in the garden. Don't add any flowers, but just make your base, leave it outside in the cold. Even if it's frosty, it's not going to kill it. So you can work ahead with materials like this. As you can see, it doesn't take long to put together. Now I'm going to use a little bit of lavender. I just spotted this in my garden and I thought, you know, this is the perfect colour. And also it brings in a bit of smell into the arrangement as well. And that's something that we kind of tend to overlook, actually, is the potential to have something scented. So I do have a few little herby pieces here. This is a little bit of rosemary. Now I'm thinking this would be a nice arrangement for a table. And actually bringing the scented aspect to that with the herbs is really nice for a table arrangement. You don't want it overpowering. If you're going to be eating food that has delicate flavours, you actually want to not have strong scents beside that food. This is a little bit of sage. It was really the sage that made me, I spotted it first and it made me think, we can put that in as well. So really what we're looking to do here is create a base that is full of texture and full of interest. Now you can see raising that candle up has made a difference. If we'd left it low down, it would have been a little bit, it would just look too short. Now I have a little bit of euonymus. I just want to bring that down. And it's little pieces like this that just create little highlights. And I would say the main thing for this type of design is just work round in a logical way, methodical way, and you'll be fine. So as you can see, we've got a nice base now. Just to create a little bit of contrast, I'm going to add a little bit of ivy. I really just have the tips of the ivy. I think if you had a long table, this would look great if you just did a run of these down a table. I think that would look really, really nice. And I've got a little bit of golden conifer as well that we can pop in. So this really is all about texture, contrast. Yes, we've got generally conifer that all ties together because they're all conifers, but it's the contrasting colours and textures and shapes. So bringing in this light colour is just going to give it a little bit of a zing. Sometimes I find with commercial foliage that a lot of the foliages tend to be really dark. So you end up, you really need your flowers to be the thing that stops it looking a bit too dark. Whereas if you can get some material like this, it really will make the difference. It'll make it really pop. I'm just making sure that I kind of come in where I've used that Oasis fix just to secure the candle into the top of that bowl. I'm just making sure that any blobs of that disappear really. Now, flower wise, I've got some beautiful berries. This is rosehip berries. Now, I've had these for a good long time. Also got some carnations. Now, carnations get a bit of a bad rap, but I think these ones are beautiful. When I first started out with flowers 40 years ago, there was a carnation that was just like this, and it was called Lady Derby. And I've always loved that carnation. So we're going to just pop them in. Now, how best to do it? What you can do is you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or you could do 6, you could do 5, whatever way you want to do it. I wanted it to probably be a little bit more random, but in some ways having a bit of symmetry is no bad thing. And I don't really want it to look like a funeral wreath. There is that danger. So what we can do is we can go like here, go lower and keep them higher. I think that's probably enough on the carnations. I'll just get rid of that. But I was also looking to see what other flowers I've got. I've got these little roses. Now these are actually real ones that have been glycerined. So they're freeze-dried roses. And they're actually a really useful thing to have if you're making flowers for yourself regularly and you don't want to be spending huge amounts of money. They're actually a little bit of a good investment, because what you can do is you can buy them, reuse them, and reuse them, and reuse them. And I think they make quite a cute little addition. So just to add a little bit then of the berries. As I say, they were fresh, but they have kind of dried, or they're in the process of drying. The berries really give it a pop. Again, we can just bring them round that edge, so we're not really seeing into that bowl. So as you can see, this is quite a straightforward sort of arrangement to do. Essentially, it's like a big roundy moundy, like a posy pad. So if you don't want to do the candle, if you were wanting to make something that's similar but just round, you can just fill in this space and do more of a focal flower in the centre. That would work. I quite like the candle because it really does give a focal point to a table arrangement, and it's basically saying this is not a wreath. This is something different. So essentially we've got our base, we've got all our different textures, we've got our carnations bringing in a bit of colour, and we've got our berries giving that contrast. Now, just to finish off, I am going to add a few little stars. So I've got these little wooden stars. Now you could just place them on, but we can also use cold glue as well. So this cold glue from Oasis, basically floral adhesive, it's a great way of putting things on and making sure they don't move around. All you need is just a little bit at the back, and that will just stick on. This is what I do like about Christmas, is you can actually just have all these little bits and reuse them and keep them and reuse them, and you just bring them out and you get to use things again and again and in different ways, which is really, really nice. So there we go. We've got our table arrangement that's feeling Christmassy, but it's in a different colour scheme. So we're not quite Christmas, but we're getting there. And then once these flowers are gone, once you've maybe had your dinner or whatever you were using this for, you could actually take these flowers out and then change them for other materials. So we could go more red, we could add in baubles, we can really make this more Christmassy. This base will last really well. So you're going to get a good bit of use out of it. Because these are freeze-dried, then these are going to last, and the carnations are long-lasting as well. So this arrangement really is a long-lasting design with Christmas in mind. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Hope I've inspired you to maybe get hands-on and create something for yourself, for your own table, for your own enjoyment. And really, it's the creating of the design that is, for me, the thing that I love. The end result, yeah, it's nice. You can really enjoy it. But actually putting it together is really the fun of floral design. So thank you for joining us. We've got new videos on a regular basis. If you've not already subscribed, we'd really love it if you did. So please tap the subscribe button, tap the bell to keep up to date with our new videos. And if you're wanting a little bit more inspiration, then have a look in the description and we'll post a link for one of our other videos that you could have, get yourself a cup of tea and watch and get a little bit more design inspiration. So thank you for watching, and we hope to see you soon.